Today, I'll show you a real-life Google Ads audit that I did for a home appliance company, Prolux vacuum cleaners. Hey, I'm Daryl from Big Flare, and in my time, I've audited over 100 e-commerce Google Ads accounts. In today's video, you'll learn how to go about auditing your own Google Ads campaign. I really love pouring a ton of detail into my audits, so if you stick with me to the end, you will learn title optimization for shopping ads, managing impression shares to maximize volume, ad copy optimization, creating good YouTube video ads, and a whole lot more. Please, if you like learning about PPC and e-commerce, give me a thumbs up using the button below. It helps me a lot. Thank you. All right, it's time to jump over to my computer screen so you can see my in-depth audit of Prolux's Google Ads account. Here we go. Hello and welcome to this video audit of the Google Ads campaigns for Prolux vacuum cleaners. All right, let's kick right off with the audit, and I am going to be referring to my notes, which are over here, and I'm going to break it down into each of the main campaign types that we have to consider for this particular account. And I shall start with shopping, as I usually like to do. So let's go over here and just filter for our shopping campaigns. Okay, first up, bids and budgets. Now, what I'm noticing here is slightly low impression share, which means that, that you're not getting as much share of the market as you could do. And a lot of that impression share is being lost due to rank, which is primarily a function of your bids, i.e. you're bidding too low to maximize your impression share. The way to get a greater impression share will mean greater share of the market, which will mean more impressions, more clicks, and more sales. But it comes at a cost. The way to do it is to increase your bids, which does increase your CPC and it does reduce your return on ad spend. So whether or not to go after that is a decision that you need to run through, and here's the process that I would use to decide whether or not to do that. So first of all, you want to run through your break-even ROAS calculations. So take your gross profit margin. Your break-even ROAS is 1 divided by your gross profit margin. So let's say, for example, your COGS was something like 40%, then your gross profit margin might be something like 60%, and then your break-even ROAS is going to be 1 divided by 0.6, which is 1.67, or 167%. Now, in your case with Prolux, I don't know if we spoke about your gross profit margin. I can't recall off the top of my head what that was, but a lot of e-commerce stores that I talk to for similar types of products have gross profit margins somewhere in the 40 to 60% mark, 40 to 50, 40 to 60 gross profit margin. So let's just assume that your one is 40, so 1 divided by 0.4. That would give you a 2.5x break-even ROAS. And once you know your break-even ROAS, then you want to think about your goals. Are you going after revenue growth or after profit growth? Now, when I spoke to you guys before, I do remember that you said that the priority right now is revenue growth. And if that is true, then you may want to consider bidding higher here, which will let the ROAS come down, but it will get your impression share up and it will get your revenue up as well. And assuming you have a 40% gross profit margin, then your break-even ROAS is 2.5. That means you can afford to let this ROAS come down a bit through stronger bids, like let it come down to 4 or 3.5. At that level, you're still going to be profitable because it's above your break-even. However, you're going to be getting more revenue, which, as I understand at the moment, is your goal. So the general process there is to calculate your break-even ROAS using this formula, and then consider your wider business goals. Like if your ROAS is well above the break-even point and your business goal right now is to just drive revenue, then you can achieve that by bidding higher, which in this case it looks like modifying the target ROAS bidding to aim for a lower ROAS target, and by doing that, you'll let the system bid higher on the CPCs and get you more revenue. So that's bids and budgets. In terms of titles then, the next most important thing to look at in shopping campaigns, in order of importance, these are the things that I will always check first in a shopping campaign. Bids and budgets, then titles, and diagnostics. So titles-wise, let's just look at some of your titles, and I'm going to rank by cost to get your top spending smart shopping campaign here. And I'll do a little analysis of the top spending product, because that's usually a good indication of how well optimized your titles are. If your titles aren't well optimized for your top spending product, then they're not likely to be well optimized for all the rest of the products. And what I see here is immediately what I notice is you're not using up all the characters you have available to you here. The titles for your shopping ads can go up to 150 characters. They become truncated, the titles, at around about the 75 character mark, but they can go all the way up to 150 characters. Titles are super important for telling Google what keywords you want to trigger ads for. If you don't have the keyword in your title, chances are you're not going to trigger ads on that particular keyword. So what are the titles for in shopping? Think of it like this. Titles are not for enticing the click. Titles are not for getting a good CTR in shopping. No, that's achieved by your image and your price and your review stars, which are hopefully showing on the ads. The title is for maximizing your traffic volume. And the way you do that is by having all of, or as many of, the high volume relevant keywords in that title as you can, which means you want to use up all the space if you can. If there's more good keywords you can stuff into this title, then you want to do it. So I think these titles can be improved and optimized to get more keywords into those titles, and if you do that, you're going to see a decent increase in volume and revenue from your shopping campaign. Here's the process that I would use to go about improving the titles that you've got here. So let's take this one for an example. So here's one I did earlier. So your current title is this: ProLux 6000 commercial upright vacuum with onboard tools. So really the only main keyword in here is commercial upright vacuum, which is a good keyword. That's a bang on the money keyword, but I bet there are other versions of this keyword, other permutations and versions and synonyms and things like that you can get in here that's going to trigger more traffic for you. So the way to find those, I usually do by looking in Google Keyword Planner tool, which you can find here under Tools and Settings. Go to Keyword Planner and type in from Keyword Planner. Let me just show you what that screen looks like. So you want to go Tools and Settings, Keyword Planner. When you get to Keyword Planner, you want to choose this option, Discover New Keywords. So you click on that, and then you come to this window that I already had open because I was doing this earlier. And then you start by typing in some of your bullseye keywords, and I immediately typed in, just off the top of my head, some alternative permutations of this. So you've already got commercial upright vacuum in the title, but I was also wondering about commercial vacuum and also commercial vacuum cleaner. So get results, and then what you're going to get at the top is the search volumes for the exact keywords that you typed in, and then you're going to get a bunch of related keyword ideas. Now, first and foremost, what I notice here is this is the keyword that you have in your title, commercial upright vacuum, and this is an alternative permutation, commercial vacuum cleaner. Commercial vacuum cleaner gets 5,400 searches, whereas commercial upright vacuum gets 480. Commercial vacuum gets 8,100. So one of the things you want to do with your title is to prioritize at the front of your title the highest volume, most relevant keywords. So I'll show you how I would do that in a moment. But once you've kind of figured out like search volumes for potential keywords to prioritize. You then also want to figure out additional keywords to get into the later parts of your title. So this one here, like best commercial vacuum, like best is always a word that comes up in e-commerce, like best insert product name. That's going to be a common, very high value search for pretty much any product in e-commerce. Hoover commercial vacuum, interesting, but like, I'm not sure if we can even mention Hoover or not. On the one hand, it's a competitor brand, and you don't want to mention competitor brands in your shopping title. But on the other hand, it's one of those brands that's now just used as the generic product keyword, right? So I question whether or not to put Hoover in the title. For now, we'll steer clear of it, just to be safe. But let's look at some other ideas. So here's an interesting one, commercial backpack vacuum. Now, I don't think this particular keyword, this particular product is a backpack vacuum, but the word commercial is interesting. That's an alternative. No, sorry, we've got commercial. Sorry, there are other alternative. Industrial, yeah, this one here. So we've already got commercial, but there are alternative ways of saying commercial. And what I see here is industrial. Okay. Industrial, and that leads me to thinking professional, commercial, industrial, professional. I bet people search for all of those permutations in conjunction with vacuum cleaner, upright vacuum cleaner, etc. So it would be good to get those other permutations in there. Heavy duty, that's an interesting one as well. Competitor terms. Wet dry vac, I'm not sure if that one's relevant to your product or not. Best commercial vacuum cleaner 2020, you could substitute that for 2022. This is just telling us that people are often searching for this keyword in conjunction with the year. So you don't necessarily have to use the exact keyword that you see here. You can use it as intelligence for different keyword ideas. Like in this case, we wouldn't use 2020, we'd use 2022 if we wanted to incorporate something like this. So what you want to do is you want to go down this list, and also you can type in some of these things as seed keywords up here and see what stuff comes up. And you want to just start saving a list of ideas that are sort of relevant, high quality, high search volume keywords. Don't worry about any of these columns over here, like 3 months change, year, just ignore all this stuff. Like I've been doing Google Ads for over a decade, and I've never really paid attention to any of these columns over here. It's not really important, accurate, or good. The only thing I look at in Keyword Planner tool is the keyword relevant, yes or no, and does it have good search volume? Those are the two things you care about in Keyword Planner tool. So using these seed keywords, here are some of the ideas that I saved earlier. So best upright vacuum cleaner, commercial vacuum, best commercial vacuum, industrial, vacuum cleaners for sale. So once you've generated a list of ideas like this, plus you've got an idea of which words are coming out top in terms of search volume, then you can take your old title and generate a new title that you can already see is much longer, right? And what you can do is insert keywords and then use some sort of punctuation. Like I like to use a pipe as a separator. And then what that allows you to do is just stick in another keyword straight afterwards, right? It would be like weird to try and make this into a sentence, but it's perfectly fine to just use some sort of punctuation. You can use a dash as well to separate sections of the title and then just insert another keyword. So you can see here that I led with commercial vacuum cleaner. This is nice because commercial vacuum is the first part, and you can see here that got the most search volume. And then it's commercial vacuum cleaner, which got the second highest search volume. Okay, you do want commercial upright vacuum as well, but I put the upright vacuum a bit later on, and I did it with industrial as an alternative permutation of commercial, so that it's just going to trigger more permutations and more searches. So commercial vacuum cleaner, industrial upright vacuum, best commercial vacuum cleaner, and then your brand, Prolux 6000, it's not super important. It's not going to trigger as many searches as some of this stuff here. So you want to front weight the stuff that's going to trigger as many ads and searches as possible. It is good and fine to keep your product brand in there, but I would just do it later in the title. So here we've got it middle of the title. You could also have it, you could equally have it at the end. But unless Prolux 6000 gets tens of thousands of searches, or thousands of searches more than these terms here, then it doesn't necessarily need to be at the front of the title. So I'd have it in the middle or the end. And then at the end, what I've got here, so this is the product brand, right? It's the Prolux 6000. And then what I've got at the end is just a general brand ending that you could append to the end of every single title in your store. So Prolux Professional Vacuums and Backpack Vacs, right? And this, this keyword here around your brand, sticking it on the end, just appending it on the end of every title in your store, that's immediately going to help boost more traffic because you're immediately getting a few extra keywords into the title without coming off as being misleading, right? It's not a backpack. It's not a backpack vac. However, we can include that here without being misleading because this section here is the section where we say the sort of store title. So, we are Prolux Professional Vacuums and Backpack Vacs. That's our store. The product is all this stuff here. So it's not misleading. It gets more keywords into your title. And this is something that can be appended to every single title very quickly in your store to get an immediate boost to shopping. So that's an example of how I'd optimize this particular product title. But what I would do is I would go down the list. You've got 298 products in here. So I would use that same process to optimize the titles of the top sellers, like the top 20 or the top 30 bestsellers, whatever is the 80-20 of your shopping. Optimize all those titles manually, doing keyword research like this. And then for the remaining, you want to do that for the top 20% of products. And then for the remaining 80% of products, you want to come up with some sensible rules that are going to allow you to quickly generate better titles for the rest of the few hundred products, right? So one really simple rule that I just said for you there is, rule append to end of title Prolux Professional Vacuums and Backpack Vacs. That's a very simple rule. You could also do another rule of product title followed by category title followed by Prolux Professional Backpack and Vacs, something like that, right? It's gonna creating a rule like that is gonna very quickly boost up the traffic for the lower portion of your product titles in shopping. Finally, diagnostics, just a small note here. Generally with shopping, you want to stay on top of your diagnostics, and if you see anything get disapproved for an easy to fix reason, just simply fix it. So we've got two products here that are disapproved due to an overlay on the image. So this is really easy to fix. You just need to take the overlay off that image. I think it's just this black line. Google thinks that's some sort of promotional overlay. You're not allowed to have money off or promotional messages sat on top of the image. In this case, I think Google just thinks this black line is a promotional overlay. So just get rid of it and you'll have two more products live in shopping. And generally process-wise, you want to be checking your diagnostics at least once a week. And anything that gets disapproved for an easy to fix reason, just fix it straight away. Okay, search. Let's do that. In terms of your search campaign, one thing I noticed straight away is if we just look at the comparison in conversions and spend between search and shopping. So this is search here. 33 conversions for 2K spend over that time period, whereas shopping has 8K spend for 137 conversions. It's quite the disparity. Shopping is getting 80% of your spend, and probably more than 80% of the conversions, whereas search is doing a much lower volume, and to me that's usually an indication that search is underdeveloped and doesn't have all the best keywords in there yet. On average, looking across e-commerce as a whole, I normally see search doing around about parity in terms of spend and conversions with shopping. It varies by industry, but when I see like shopping, spending, and converting this much more than search, I usually notice that search could have more keywords in there to get more spend and more conversions. All right, so now let's actually look at search. And when we look at search, one of the things I notice straight away is you have a top spending campaign here. It's doing most of the spend. And when we go into it, what do we find? We find that it's basically a brand campaign. It's just your brand's terms in here. And the fact that that's your highest spending campaign immediately tells me that your brand, your search campaign does not have all the non-brand keywords that it could do. So immediate revenue expansion idea here is to start that non-brand campaign, that non-brand search campaign, get some of those top keyword ideas into there with highly optimized ad copy, and start bringing up your spend and conversions in a non-branded search. So digging into, oh yeah, that's another thing, only 13% impression share for branded keywords. So this is your branded campaign. Another thing to notice is that you have, okay, I must have been using a different date range when I wrote those notes. 16% impression share for branded search is really low. I'm normally shooting for 99 to 100% impression share for branded search, and I normally want it to be at a return on ad spend above 8x, and in this case it's only at 4x, which is really low for branded search. So why is that happening? Well, let's have a look. First of all, you're using full broad match in your brand campaign. This is like full broad match here, which is the widest type of targeting and is, generally speaking, going to trigger like some less relevant terms. So if we look at the terms it's actually triggering, there is like a bunch of stuff in here that just probably shouldn't be in here, like Prolux with an E at the end. I don't think that's your brand. I think that's something else entirely. Yeah, it's a pizza dough press manufacturer, so not you guys at all. Hilo Vacuum, is that you guys? No, that's a competitor brand. So you're triggering some competitor brands and you're triggering some completely unrelated pizza dough stuff. And yeah, there's a, oh yeah, I went through this before, and these are some of the other keywords I saw popping up in your brand campaign, like Dyson keywords and Hoover commercial keywords. When you use broad match like that, you are going to trigger unrelated stuff. So for brand, I think you should be on phrase match and exact match, and you should still be checking the search terms list very regularly to make sure that no irrelevant stuff is coming up. So that should improve your return on ad spend. The other thing to think about in brands, oh, that was the main thing, yeah. To just change your match types and use more aggressive negative keywords to control the flow of keywords and the type of keywords that you're showing up for. Back to your wider search campaigns. If we look at your comfort campaigns, once again, losing impression share, and this time for a different reason. So it's getting, how's that? This range. Okay. If you look at your comfort campaign, it's getting a great return on ad spend at 7x, but a tiny impression share at less than 10%. A lot of impressions and potential conversions being missed out on due to low bids, due to low rank. So this is like a pretty low spend campaign with only 4 conversions. You could be spending more, getting more, making more revenue with higher bids in this campaign. And then, yeah, building and launching non-brands. So as mentioned, there's a lot of potential good keywords that you could be triggering ads for in search that you're not. And how do you go about finding and bidding on those keywords? Well, once again, start with the keyword planner tool, plug in some example seed keywords. Like you can see, I've just got here as an example, commercial vacuum cleaner. And then what you want to do is just start going down this list and building out a keyword plan. So the way I do this is normally to save these keywords into a spreadsheet, just figure out which are the most relevant, decent volume keywords. And just to give you an idea of the potential scope here, you can see I've saved a bunch of these keywords into an example plan. I didn't save everything, like this is the one I didn't think was relevant enough. But most of the keywords here, like best commercial vacuum cleaner, there are some competitor keywords in here as well, which I think is relevant enough because targeting your competitor keywords does work. But what I did is I just took the relevant ones out of the first 30 or 50. I did the first page of 50 keywords, and I just added these, actually no, just the top 30 keywords. Added those to an example plan, and here's what we get if we do a little forecast, right? So in this forecast, I've put in a maximum CPC bid of $2, and I've taken just the conversion rate currently from your Google Ads account and the value per conversion that you're currently getting, and I tried to control for brands traffic there. So I took these numbers from the shopping campaign. They seem pretty reasonable. Actually, I think your value per conversion from shopping was a little bit higher than this. So I'm trying to create reasonable estimates there. So based on a $2 CPC and a 1.56 conversion rate and a 260 value per conversion, and just grabbing the first 30 keywords that came up that seemed relevant enough, we're looking at potentially a conversion value of 28K per month at a 3.7x ROAS. Now, obviously, like you can fiddle with the bids. Like if you want a higher ROAS, and you're willing to take a lower revenue for that, then you can see what it looks like if you go for a lower bid. So at a lower bid, we could get a ROAS of 4.6 at a lower revenue of 23K. Now, alternatively, if you just really wanted to be aggressive and get as much revenue as possible, then let's say maybe a $2.50 average max CPC, and then your ROAS would look something more like 3x, but your conversion value is going to go up to 33K for an 11K spend. So the important thing to note here is that this is definitely not the limit of what search can do for you. This was just the first 30 or 27 or so keywords that I came up with 10 minutes of research. And normally when you launch a search campaign, I would normally recommend starting with the top, say, 200 to 400 keywords. So this is just very much a flavor of what you could be getting out of a well-optimized search campaign. It's by no means this is an accurate estimate, but it just gives you an idea that there is some volume here in search if you get that thing going and running properly for you. So another thing that I would recommend is the use of bid strategy portfolios. Right now it looks like you're using target ROAS bidding, which is great, but each bid strategy is set at the campaign level. And what I would recommend doing is coming over here to bid strategies, creating a target ROAS portfolio, and then so let's just filter. Some of those bid strategies are ones from my agency account, but if we just filter for bid strategies portfolios that are in your account, there are none. So what I'd recommend doing is creating a target ROAS bid strategy portfolio and adding multiple campaigns to that portfolio. Probably I would create one portfolio for brand and aim it at a higher target ROAS, because brands should be performing at a higher target ROAS than non-brand, and then create a second portfolio for non-brand and aim it at whatever target ROAS makes sense for non-brand. And the reason why you want to do that, the reason why you want to use portfolios, is it allows you to group multiple campaigns together. So that allows the bid strategy to share conversion data across campaigns. When you have just a single bid strategy at the campaign level, then each of these campaigns are optimizing in a silo. So this campaign is just optimizing it with its 125 conversions on its own. This campaign only has 4 conversions to base its optimization decisions on, and this one only has 1 conversion to base those decisions on. If you were to add all of those into a portfolio, though, then you've got one portfolio with 130 conversions with which to make those decisions based on. So that's going to improve the overall performance and ease of operating and updating your bid strategies. So for your audiences, add more retargeting audiences. So when we come into this campaign here and look at your audiences, so right now you've got just a few audiences in here, and you've got an all converters audience and an AdWords optimized list. The only retargeting audience you've got in here though is all converters. So I would recommend adding other retargeting audiences, such as added to cart, like visited past 30 days, visited product page, visited homepage, visited category page. Add a bunch of different retargeting audiences in here so that the automated bid strategy can automatically apply bid adjustments based on those audiences. What you're doing by adding those audiences in observation mode is you're telling Google which audiences you think are important to you, and that allows it to actually create a bid adjustment based on that audience. So ad copy wise, so in terms of your ads, and we'll focus on responsive search ads, seeing as expanded text ads are kind of being sunsetted as an ad format. So you have additional headline slots that you can use. So you've got 3 additional headline slots that you can use in here, so just use them all. Like you might as well. The more options you give Google, the better Google can figure out a combination that that works well for your store. And I would add 1 new RSA to test different ideas in your headline. Like for example, right now you've got a lot of brand-based headlines, which it makes sense. This is a brand ad group. However, I don't think you need to have that many brand-focused headlines. You could probably take a couple out and try some other different ideas. As long as you've got 3 or 4 brand-focused headlines, then with the rest of the stuff in here, you can experiment with different ideas. And one thing that's super powerful in headlines is call to actions. And at the moment, you have this one here and this one here. You've got 2 call to actions. You've only got 2 call to actions. So I would normally like to have 3 or 4 call to actions per RSA because call to actions in your headlines just work well. So I would have fewer brand headlines, more call to actions like order online, shop online today, find out more, try a few different things so we can see what works. And also another thing here is to use headlines that distinguish you from the competition. So why is someone going to come to your store and not one of your competitors' store? So I would possibly have a few less brand-focused headlines and a few more why are we different from our competitor type headlines. So just a couple of examples. I noticed you have a lifetime warranty and a free 60-day returns. I don't think that's mentioned in your headline yet. And then things like your number of reviews, social proof, and any other benefits and features that you can get into the headline. Try those out. And you only got 3 more headlines, but you can also add a whole new RSA to test out completely different ideas and themes in your headline. In terms of your extensions, so site links. At the moment you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 site links, and only 2 of them actually have descriptions. So I would recommend boosting site links up to 20. the more site links you have, the more Google has to choose from, which gives you a higher CTR. Google picks and chooses the site links for each individual auction that it thinks is going to get the best CTR in that auction. So the more options you give it, the higher Google can get your CTR, and you can go up to 20 site links is the limit. So go all the way up to 20 and get descriptions on every single one of those. Same with callouts, the more the merrier. You can go up to 20, so get 20 in there. Also with price extensions, right now what you have, you already have price extensions, which is great. You have brand-focused price extensions, so like this particular brand or product. What I'd also suggest is adding category price extensions. Add a second price extension for categories, and then you can have like upright vacs, canister vacs, backpack vacs, central vacs, floor cleaners, and then for the price for each category, you can put the lowest priced product in that category, and then you can say, prices start from, so let's say the lowest price upright vac is $200. So then your price extension can be a category level extension. One of the categories is upright vacs, and then its starting price is $200. So it allows you to get the category keywords into those price extensions. It allows you to advertise the lowest price on that page as well to give it a better feeling of value for the people who view that price extension. All the other extensions here look great. They look fine. Those would be all of my recommendations on extensions. I do think you want to change your attribution model because right now you are on last click. I do remember when we spoke that you're kind of revenue and growth focused. You're interested right now in getting more top of funnel traffic. And when you're thinking about growing more, like going after growth and thinking of top of funnel traffic, like the last attribution model you want to use is last click. It's like the worst attribution model for that. In fact, it's just hands down the worst attribution model. I just never use last click anymore. So I would suggest changing this to something like position based. So you can see on the diagram, last click awards all of the conversion to the final click, whereas position based awards most of the conversion to the first and last click. Like 80% of the value gets distributed between the first and the last click. The remaining 20% gets spread evenly on the intervening clicks in the middle. So this one's a much better balanced attribution model that gives you a bit more weighting towards growth and the campaigns and ads that drove the initial discovery. So switching your attribution model is going to help with your growth and revenue goals. And also I'd suggest trying out a RLSA head terms campaign. So what does that mean? That's a campaign where you apply a remarketing list. So you say, okay, we are only going to target people who are searching for this keyword and who have definitely been to our website within the past 7 days or 30 days or whatever time frame. And why do you do that? Well, when you know they've been to your website in the past 7 to 30 days, it allows you to target much broader and wider keywords. So normally you might not want to target the keyword vacuum cleaner because it's too broad. It might be people searching for non-commercial vacuum cleaners, like home vacuum cleaners, right? But if someone's been to your site in the past 7 days and now they're searching for vacuum cleaner, or maybe just vacuum, or maybe just cleaner, right? Now that is probably a relevant person to be targeting, and that's what the RLSA head terms campaign can do for you. Because it only targets people who have definitely been to your site recently, you can target much broader keywords and bring those people back to your site to convert. So a nice little additional campaign idea for you there. Display-wise, so display's not really converting for you at all. You are running it. So you're running some smart display, you're running this campaign here. This campaign here is getting quite a lot of clicks for a 3K spend, but nothing's really converting. So let's look into that a bit. Well, actually this one is like, that's not a bad CPA. I mean, it's a very low spend, but considering the high value of your products, that actually looks like a decent cost per acquisition, although it's smart display, so it was probably retargeting that did that. So yeah, I noticed you've got retargeting and cold traffic like in the same campaign. So like, for example, you've got in-market vacuum cleaners, which is cold traffic, and you got it right alongside all converters and all visitors, like which are retargeting audiences. I question the value of retargeting all converters. Like if they've already bought from you, are they likely to buy again? I'm not sure. Maybe that is a good targeting idea for your business. But if they're not likely to buy again, or if you're just targeting them with an ad for the same product they already bought, then I question the value of that. And what I would do here with display is go hard or go home. I mean, first of all, I would split the retargeting into its own campaign. So retargeting audiences should really be in their own campaign, so you can separate them from prospecting audiences. And then you'll be able to more clearly see, it's all the prospecting that's driving up my spend for no conversions. And then retargeting is probably getting a little bit of conversion value at the low spend. So segment those out. You don't want to have prospecting and retargeting in the same display campaign. It can really muddies the water. And then for the prospecting stuff, for the cold traffic, I would say go hard or go home. Right? I mean, it's not converting right now. Doesn't really seem to be doing much for you. So but also you probably haven't like tested a lot in here. So with the I don't see a ton of different audiences in here, and I don't see a ton of different ads being tested or different land. Like there's only one ad in there. Only one ad, only one landing page. So with display prospecting, I would say go hard or go home. Either do it and do it more and invest the time, money, and effort to do it right, because it never works straight away unless you're very, very lucky. It takes weeks and months of work on your creative landing page, testing process, budgets, targeting, bidding, all that stuff. You need to spend a considerable amount of time, effort, and money optimizing this, and then maybe display can work for you. If you don't have the appetite for that right now, then go home. Like just turn off prospecting, maybe just leave retargeting on, and go spend your attention elsewhere. Now, if you did want to go hard, then if you do want to go hard on prospecting, and I know top of funnel traffic is important to you right now, I would probably go after YouTube before I went after display, because you can just do so much more with a YouTube ad, and we're generally just seeing better results for e-commerce YouTube these days. Yeah, we're running a bunch of successful e-commerce YouTube ads campaigns like right now for our clients, and it's not seeing anywhere near as much traction for Google Display Network in e-commerce these days. And the reason for that is just like YouTube targeting's really improved. The creative on YouTube is just so much more expansive. You can do so much more with it. And I know, like we've talked before about YouTube, so I just wanted to give you a few additional ideas for a potential YouTube campaign for you. So creative-wise, I thought I'd just take an example, one of your videos, to give you an idea of how I think about YouTube ad creative and what you could do to generate videos for YouTube ads. So let's take this video here that's up on your YouTube channel. So first of all, it's not a terrible video, and with some modifications, but based on this format, I think it can work for YouTube. But like, first of all, the thing you would want to change with this video to turn it into a viable YouTube ads is this first 5 seconds doesn't hook you in at all. So to turn this into a YouTube ad, you really want to hook people in the first 5 seconds. Like your brand message with a bit of music isn't going to do that. But I like this line here, cleaning reinvented. And I also really like this bit. So that's later in the video. And I think something like that, showing the product in action, doing something cool. I mean, that looks cool. That just it looks like novel and interesting, and it just shows the power of the product as well. So having like an immediate visual demonstration of the product, and then maybe with a voiceover from someone saying, "This is cleaning reinvented." In the first 5 seconds, that's more likely to hook in your ideal target audience, right? So you don't have to use that idea. That's just one idea that came to my mind. But the main thing is to create a YouTube ad, you want to create a hook in the first 5 seconds. I know that this is just a video on your YouTube channel. I know this was not designed to be a YouTube ad. This is in no way a critique of the video that's on your channel. I think for its purpose, it's fine, it's great. I'm just using this as a springboard to give you ideas for how to think about YouTube ads. So hooks in the first 5 seconds, and think about what's going to be a great hook in the first 5 seconds. So I like the idea of saying cleaning reinvented, and I like that visual demonstration of the product. And then with your YouTube ads, you do want to add a voiceover. So you could get a professional voiceover done. And in that voiceover, you can talk about the benefits and the way and the reason why this product stands out. Now, a lot of the rest of this video would just kind of works as long as it has a voiceover. So the rest of the video, we've got this cool animation of the product assembling and in action. I'd probably be adding more snapshots of it sucking up liquid or sucking up something to make it look really powerful, and then just add a voiceover on top. So you could almost use this video if you just have a hook, a voiceover, and then a strong offer and a call to action later in the video. And then for the voiceover, this is the product that you're showing in this video, right? And for the voiceover and for how to talk about this product, I would say you want to the description and specs you've got here. They're great. It sounds and looks great, but for your YouTube ad, what I would say is you want to think about these are really kind of features, right? And this is just for classic marketing advice, but it really works for YouTube ads as well. You want to turn these features into benefits that are experienced by your ideal target audience. So who is your ideal target audience? This is a professional cleaning product, right? And so I think maybe your ideal target audience is maybe the CEO or founder or person running a cleaning business, perhaps someone who buys lots of cleaning products for their team of janitors and cleaning staff. So I don't know if that's your ideal target audience. I'm just going to use that as an example, right? So I've got that person in my mind, and I'm thinking about them and thinking about these features and how they turn into benefits. So it's compact and lightweight. So why is that? What's the benefit to my target audience of compact and lightweight? I'm running a cleaning company. I don't actually personally care if it's compact and lightweight, but what's the benefit to me of that? Well, if it's compact and lightweight, my staff are going to have an easier time and they're going to clean places much faster, which is going to give me more revenue because I'm going to be cleaning the same amount of space for less amount of time. So turn it into a benefit for your target audience. Instead of compact and lightweight, you've got clean client venues in half the time thanks to our compact lightweight design, right? Easily erased dirt. Okay, once again, I don't directly care about that if I'm being in the mode of my target audience, but what I do care maybe about is really happy clients that come back again and again because we erased so much dirt. So in the voiceover for YouTube ad, you could talk about, create and keep incredibly happy clients because of our powerful ability to easily erase dirt with this product. So you get the idea. You want to think about your target audience and the benefits that they're accruing by using this product, rather than the features of the product itself. And then a strong offer and call to action, just always required for YouTube ads, obviously this is not YouTube ads, it's a video for your page, so I don't think it has it at the moment. But when you turn something like this into a YouTube ad, you want to have at the end a offer, and a strong offer, and then a call to action driving people to click to the site where they can take you up on that offer. And also you may want to experiment with having that call to action midway through the video as well. You could potentially create two versions of video, one with just the call to action at the end, and then one with the call to action in the middle and at the end. So yeah, experiment a bit, probably generate 4 or 5 different versions of that video to start YouTube testing with. And then in terms of targeting and phases, so I would ease into YouTube with just retargeting initially. Use that to get an idea of which video works best, and to see if those videos can convert for you. And then once that is humming along, it'll probably work for you, I imagine. Then you can try some initial lower funnel prospecting. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean potentially just placements and keywords. So, oh yeah, sorry, let's undo that. So I would focus on, for lower funnel prospecting, I would just focus on really targeted placements and really targeted keywords. So for your lower funnel keywords, like how do you find those? So I would actually just find them on YouTube itself, because the style of keyword on YouTube is a bit different to the style of keyword on Google. So I wouldn't really necessarily be using the keyword planner all that much, but what I would be doing is going to YouTube and commercial vacuum. So try and search for the things that your target audience might be searching for, and then hunt around in the titles for your keyword ideas. So when we search for that, we get keyword ideas like, okay, best commercial vacuum cleaner competition. That could just be a keyword for my YouTube campaign. Best commercial vacuum cleaner reviews 2021. So that's a few keywords in there, like best commercial vacuum, and then commercial vacuum cleaner reviews 2022 and 2021, budget commercial vacuum cleaner, buying guide. So commercial vacuum cleaner buying guide, that's another keyword idea. Top 5 commercial vacuum, top 5 commercial vacuum in 2022, top 5 best commercial vacuums. These are all keyword ideas that you can extract from these titles. Another place you can go to get the title, the keyword ideas, is to actually just click into these videos.
Your work can feel muddy.
And then from there, look at the related videos, the suggested videos. So vacuum wars, is that's a potential keyword. Dyson V15 detect review, there's another keyword idea. And then just the wider version, Dyson V15 detect, would be a keyword idea for you. Shark vertex. So there's going to be tons of keyword ideas in the titles over here, and in the titles of your search results. So that's how I would go about finding the lowest funnel keywords for an initial test on YouTube. And then in terms of placements, it can be quite a slog generating. Like, you probably want to start with a few hundred of your most targeted placements, and it can be quite a slog generating those placement ideas manually. But there is a good tool for quickly generating placement ideas. It's called Adzula. Great little tool. So here it is over here. So using this tool, you can very quickly chuck in some of your top, like lower funnel keyword ideas. And then from that, you're going to be able to quickly generate a list of potentially a few hundred of the most targeted keywords to go after. Now, this is going to be the most targeted stuff that you can find on YouTube, and hopefully that can work for you, but at a low volume. Now, if it works for you with a decent return on ad spend and at a low volume, then and only then you might then want to move on to the third phase, which is scaling into wider audiences, such as custom audiences, in-market, affinity, topics even can work sometimes. But I'd probably do it in that order. I'd probably start with custom audiences, then in-market, then affinity. So like right now, what I see in your Google Display Network campaign is you just went, for your prospecting, you just went straight to in-market. So for cold traffic for prospecting on YouTube and display, I would actually just normally start with retargeting first, then lower funnel stuff, and then and only then possibly scale into the wider top of funnel stuff, such as custom audiences, in-market affinity topics. And I would probably do, custom audiences, all of these things can work. I'd probably, if you have to pick one to start with, I'd probably just start with custom audiences because they're a lot more flexible. And you can create some really interesting custom audiences around unique ideas around exactly who your target audience is. All right, so that is everything I've got for you on this video review. I hope that's been really useful for you. And yeah, do let me know if you have any feedback, questions, or comments. I'm here all day. All right, thank you. So what did you think of the audit? I hope you learned a thing or two today. I honestly think that being able to audit an account really well is one of the super skills of Google Ads. After all, if you can't diagnose the problem, then you're never going to be able to fix it. Now, if you're interested in getting your Google Ads account managed by my team at Big Flare, you should know that an audit like this one is usually included for free as part of our sales proposal. So if you're considering working with us and would like that free audit, then head over to bigflare.com and click Get a Proposal now.